everyone, I'm Kimberly from Dirt Floor Fibers and welcome back. Today is Thursday, June 19th, so happy Juneteenth everyone. So I wanted to check in and kind of give you a little recap on how our May and June knitting plans have been going because progress has been made, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I've got my groove back. It's great. And then also look forward to what we might be doing in July. We do have a few days left of June though, so that could always change, but I always have to have a plan where I'm going next, otherwise I get lost and lose momentum. So check out what we have been doing. So you guys already saw my, oh my gosh, what was it called? My Harlow flip hat. I showed that to you in my last video. That was one of my May makes. Impulse May make, might I say. But I had two actual planned ones for May that have also been completed. So May and June were kind of a cowl sort of month. I kind of got started with one because I needed a boring, go around in circles, I can work on it anywhere sort of project. And the project I picked for that was the Kuma Cowl by Laura Dobratz. And that takes one skein of a fluffy yarn. I went with a Surrey alpaca, Surrey silk combination, that fluffy. You could also do a mohair, and a pack of 20-gram minis, which both of mine came from 29 Bridges. I got it at a trunk show from Finnegan's Run. And guys, it's all done. Whoa! Look at that! And you can see how open and airy the fabric is. Like, check that out. But it's also fuzzy, so it's both lightweight and super warm. So, before I put it on, because it'll mess up the hair and I don't want to have to deal with that again, some things that I like and don't like about this. First of all, love the shaping. It's narrower. I don't know if you can tell, but there's more shaping up here on the edge. So it sits really nicely on the shoulders around the neck. And then it slowly increases toward the bottom. I did have some trouble with my color changes and weaving in ends because the fabric is so open and light and airy. At the places where I switched from, because you hold it double, one strand of the fingering weight with the lace strand of the fuzzy yarn. And then when you get between the colors, you do a couple of rows with just the fuzzy. And so it kind of gives it almost like a fold line to help it sit in a really interesting manner. But where I switched, you can see it better there, not the holes, but I guess the gauge is a little bit looser where I had to switch, and that happens at every single one. I tried to fix it on some of them with weaving in the ends, and it's not super noticeable. It's not like a stitch is dropped or anything, and I think when you're wearing it, because it's in the back and it's going to be folded and scrunched, you're not going to see it, but that, I gotta say, was a challenge, so keep an eye open for that. It was also difficult on the inside, weaving in the ends. All right, so you guys know how I usually weave in all the ends, block it, and then go back and trim off the excess. This time I didn't do that. I actually left the ends out, did my blocking, and then went back and wove everything in. I did knot it one extra time, and I left the ends, I don't know if you can see any of them, a little longer than what I normally would, just because I'm worried about them pulling out and showing on the other side. But again, once you have it on, I don't think you're going to be able to notice it at all. Look at, oh, I love that shaping right there. How pretty is that? But anyway, let's go ahead and see what it looks like on, oh, the other thing. I ran out of fluffy yarn toward the end. So if you're using a mohair, you're probably gonna get a little bit more yardage. And I don't know if it was user error because this section I miscounted and it's 2 rows longer than what it should be. But I don't think that's enough to make up for what I was missing on the end. And actually when I looked at the picture, I went back and recounted several times. There's 5 colors, but even in the picture, I'll see if I can pop it up, of the on the pattern, it really looks like the bottom section is smaller than all the other ones. And I tried to count it. And I think it is smaller, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But I ran short, and so this bottom section is not as long as everything else, but I think it still looks okay. All right, let's go ahead and find the back. Ah, fuzzy. And then toss it on. Where's my back? There's my back. Ah. Oh gosh. There we go. There's the hair. So you can see how where the lines are between the color, because you're only holding the fluffy yarn singularly. It gives it like a little bit of a folding ridge. And I like how the colors in this ended up being like a little bit more of a fade. Like I think it worked out really, really well. I think even if you have wildly different colors, when you have the same like background fluffy yarn and being held together throughout, it really kind of makes it all pull together. I was really expecting this to be kind of a brighter color than what it is, but having that, it wasn't even muted. You guys saw what color that was, that pink peppercorn. I don't know, it came out really, really pretty, and I love the way that it drapes. And again, because the fabric is so open and airy, it's not like super suffocating, but it is nice and toasty at the same time. So I think you could definitely wear this through a variety of seasons. Super cute. Really like it. Don't think I'd make a second one just because, but I do like the way this one came out. So super pretty. And again, that's the Kuma Cowl by Laura Dobratz. And as soon as I get some more pictures, I will update my Ravelry page with that. And then, drum roll please, I also finished The Shift by I didn't finish The Shift. I missed one strand. Hang on. Let's try that again. I have finished The Shift by Andrea Mowry. I am so excited. So this one I did for the Cowgirl Knit Along, which ran from May 2nd, May 4th, May 2nd, I think it was May 2nd, until June 27th. So I have finished it with time to spare. And the only requirements was that you needed to knit a cowl or crochet a cowl. You need to make a cowl. And it needed to be using at least half spin cycle yarns. So I had this kit in my stash for literal years. And just, I don't know, I think maybe I got intimidated by the color work, which is super easy, super satisfying. I love how it's almost like a little bit of a waffle weave. It has an excellent texture to it and was not hard at all because you're only ever using one color per row. I love it. So I feel like it didn't come out as big as the one, I didn't bring up the extra yarn. So the pattern says that when you do your gauge swatch to like leave it in the round so you can unravel it if you run short / when you run short. I still have like a pretty decent amount of yarn left from each one of my colors. And so I don't know if mine like just came out smaller, but when I blocked it, it blocked the right dimensions. It was a little bit short this way, but a little bit wide this way. I don't know if that changed as it dried or not. I didn't remeasure it because I was putting off seaming it up. You guys know I hate sewing. Like, I like sewing. Like, embroidery is great. I love hand sewing. Not a big fan of machine, but I can do it. But I hate sewing when it's crochet or knit. Like, the two crafts, the two art forms should not overlap. So I put off doing the mattress stitch, but the pattern does have a video linked to a how-to video, which I think I did a pretty good job, if I do say so myself. Have a nice little seam line on the inside. And so that's what it looks like. All right, let's see what she looks like on. And there we go. So I feel like Andrea's looks like thicker and larger in her pictures. But again, mine came out to the right size. So I don't know. But I love the way that it fits. It gives you just enough like around the neck, but it's not too much. So again, you could pair it with a lot of different like weight shirts for different times of the year, or you can just like flat on turn it straight and then put your winter jacket over it. And that way you get the coverage and the nice squishy wool without having to have like the extra ends of a scarf or a shawl hanging around underneath your jacket. If you guys go on Instagram and you look at my pictures from when I finished this before blocking, you could see that this, which was the I-cord bind off edge, was super, super wavy and wiggly, but when I blocked it, it flattened out really, really nicely. Guys, I'm so excited. I absolutely adore how this looks. I was a little worried that some of like the more yellow sections would be a little bit like too much. I can't even find the other one. Maybe that's the only one. I don't know. But it all blends in really, really nicely, and the color is absolutely fantastic. So, May and June, and again, we're on June 19th, I finished brioche hat and 2 cowls. So that is 3 finished objects for May and June. We have it back. So, super excited about all of that. All 3 of those were new cast-ons. So, that means in July, I have to have a little more discipline, and we have to finish up a whip. But fortunately for us, I already have a whip in mind. Give me just a second, and I'll pull her out. All right, I'm so disappointed. I realized, like, just now that I stopped in the middle of a row for some reason, and so I'm not going to be able to, like, hold it up as nicely as I had anticipated, but I'm sure I'm going to show this to you again. One of my whips that I've had in my whip basket since I did my organization earlier in the year is the Washed Out shawl by Joji Locatelli. I'm pretty sure it's washed out. I keep wanting to call it windswept, but that's not right. So Washed Out by Joji Locatelli, and it's a 3-color shawl. I am using Fiber Optics merino cashmere nylon blend. They did, so in the pattern, it was really, really serious about the middle color needed. I'll have to look up what it is. It says it right there in the Ravelry page, but it was really serious about how many yards you needed of this middle color. And the Fiber Optics was ever so slightly short. And so I did get 4 skeins, 1 of each color plus an extra of my middle color. And as of right now, I have not wound it up. I still have this much left of the first skein. So I'm hoping that I won't need to break into the second one, but I have the second one just in case. So I am so close to the end on this. I have 2 more sections. It starts here at one end, and you have some garter stitch, and then it goes into a lace section, and then you alternate your 2 colors in a garter stitch. And I really like how the 2 colors that I picked kind of fade into each other. I mean, it almost just looks like kind of a stripy hand-dyed yarn. I do kind of wish if I were to do this one again, I think I would have done like a really bright, saturated color here on the end. And then this middle color would have been something, how did I figure it out? Because I want the last color to be the lightest, but maybe like more like a lighter, but more like speckled. I'm not sure. I needed more contrast between these 2. And I think this one should have been a more fun color. Although I do love this. This is like very much in my wheelhouse. And so we got a stripe section, and then we go into a lace section, and then we have a solid garter stitch section. And then now we're on a lace section. I just finished that, and I'm getting ready to work on / I'm like on the first row of my next striped fade section. And then at the end, there's this gorgeous like just panel of lace. And then that is going to be in my lightest color because I want the lace to really stand out. So I'm trying to make sure my needles don't slide out. And so that's what my last color is going to be. So I think that is going to stick out and be really, really nice, but also be a nice fade with that color. So I have a Ravelry page already started for this if you want to go see the colors, because I don't have the tags anymore. I think it's all up there on my Ravelry page. Love the yarn. Big fan of Fiber Optics. So super soft. It does have that 10% nylon in there, but it's because it's compensating for the cashmere that's also in there. So it's just a really, really nice yarn to work with. And I'm really obsessed with this color. I feel like every time I go to Maryland Sheep and Wool and I go in the fiber optics booth, I like pick up another skein of this going like, oh, this is a great color. And then I come home and I'm like, wow, I already have like 12 of those. But anyways, really big fan of the color. Yarn is gorgeous. Something I did change on the pattern though, I am doing a slip stitch edge. I don't think that's written into the pattern. I'll have to go back and look at my Ravelry page and I'll let you know for sure there. But again, I'm never ever doing a project that doesn't have some sort of slipped or I-cord edge, even if I have to add it myself. So I'm pretty sure I was the one who added the slip stitch edging onto this, and I don't regret it. It looks great. I feel like it really needs it. So that is one of our projects for July, is to get this one finished, and I am so close and I am so excited because I've been working on that one forever. Okay. I also really want to dig into an advent. So I've been working on winding up the Hue Loco advent from 2024. Absolutely adore the colors. So pretty. I've actually already ordered their advent for this year. I'm obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. But the project that I was going to do with it was the 'Tis the Season wrap, which I'll again pop up a picture here. But once I downloaded the pattern, there are things about it that I liked and things about it that I was like, oh, I didn't realize. So here's a picture of their schematic out of the pattern. Like, I don't want to give you too many details because I still want you to go and like support if this is something you want to make. I thought the shawl itself, in some of the pictures, it looks like it's just like a long asymmetrical kind of stripy shawl, which is what I was looking for. But when you look at the actual schematic, the whole thing is like a gigantic arrow shape. And so when I went back and zoomed in more closely on some of the pictures, where she's holding it out, it looks like she has the whole thing folded in half along the spine. And then that way when she wraps it, it's like a double layered scarf, I guess. Because I don't know. But it's not, I don't think that's the shape that I wanted. It's not the shape that I had envisioned in my head. And it's still cute. I love the pictures. But then I pulled up some people's like Ravelry projects. And I think there's only one that shows like a full finished like shape. And the person did a great job on it. I mean, it looks like a lovely piece. I'm not sure if it was blocked yet. I couldn't tell from the picture. But if you look at it, you can see that it's a weird shape. We're just gonna put it that way. It's a weird shape. So I still want to do something with that advent, but I don't know what I want to do with it. So I'm still working on winding it up. Part of me kind of wanted to switch over to my Fiber Fox advent because I know I want to do the Gradivent shawl with that. But at the same time, this might be a good chance to like design my own project. So I don't know. So one of our projects in July might be making our own pattern, which I think would be a lot of fun. I don't know if that's something I should take on for July, but I don't know, maybe. And then my third project that I'm looking at for July, a pair of socks. Because of course, July includes Sock Week. I think it's toward the end of July. It's like the 21st maybe. I'll put up dates or I'll do something. But the Nitty Natty Sock Week is coming up at the end of July. And so I figured that might be a good time to get rid of one of my sock sets. I'm really looking at the Archivist socks because it looks like, I'll put up the picture here. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it's a main skein and then you use two different colors of minis because there's some stripes around the top and then I think the toe is a different color. You might be able to use one mini instead of two. I'm not sure. I'll have to look more into that. We'll give more details when we actually go to cast on. Or if I have a single skein of sock yarn, I might do the Vanilla is the New Black, just because I'm interested in seeing that shaping of the heel and seeing if I like the way that that fits. So we'll see what happens. But so to recap what we've done in May and June so far, we have finished the Harlow Flip Hat, which I've already shown you guys in a previous video. We have finished the Kuma Cowl by Laura Dobratz using the 29 Bridges yarn. We have finished the Shift by Andrea Mowry using Spin Cycle yarn. And we've been super productive. And then for July, we're looking at finishing up the Oh my gosh, now just like slipped out of my head. What am I finishing up in July? In July, I am finishing up the Washed Out Shawl by Joji Locatelli, done in fiber optics yarn. And then we're looking at maybe using the Hue Loco to design our own pattern. Again, I don't know, but we're going to wind it up and we're going to see what happens. And then finally, last but not least, possibly a pair of socks. I'm looking at a pair of socks for Sock Week. So progress has been made for May and June. Really excited about looking forward to our July project. So I will check in with you guys later when we actually get some progress made. Bye for now.